We are back on another episode of Unsportsmanlike Conduct, episode 6. Trevor Brew and Tommy Morris on the airwaves. We took last week off because it was Memorial Day, and to recognize our troops, we just decided we weren't going to work.
Yeah, that's an excuse we'll go with. I don't know if I could have physically used a computer last week.
There you go. I was trying to go with the higher road, but that'll do too.
I'm just an honest guy. I'm just an honest guy, honest to a fault.
We missed a lot the last couple of weeks. Clippers sell for $2 billion, NBA record. A lot going on with the NHL playoffs. Western Conference Finals just finished up in a crazy Game 7 overtime thriller with the Kings winning. NBA playoffs, we got a rematch of last year as well as some other stories going on with the World Cup. NBA lottery, which we missed out on, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And we got who's hot, who's not, and our favorite game, this week's game segment, the interrogation room.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we like to switch it up, so I think the interrogation room will be a nice change of pace after we've been doing more of like the philosophical what if, would you rather. Now we got the interrogation room.
Yeah, we've gotten a little soft lately, so we gotta go back to the hard stuff.
Bring the intensity up a little bit.
We've been
getting along a little bit too much over the last few episodes.
Yes.
So on that note, let's start out in an area we don't normally touch on as much on this show because we are not as educated on it. But I've been watching a lot of hockey lately because the NBA playoffs, after the first round, really weren't doing it for me. And the NHL playoffs have been spectacular, especially the last round. I mean, the whole playoffs have been spectacular, but the Kings-Blackhawks series was unbelievable. If you tally up how many overtimes they had to play, they played 8 games in the series. Kings end up winning in 7 games. And let me spew off some stats for you, Tommy, and you tell me, what I want to know from you is if you think there's ever been a team that's gone through this type of journey to get to even a championship round in any sport. The Kings start out by going down 0-3 to the Sharks. They win 4 in a row, and they win Game 7 on the road after going down 1-0 in Game 7, which teams that go down in Game 7 rarely come back. The stats are far against them when that type of thing happens. So they go down, they have a 3-game losing streak. They come back, beat the Sharks. Then they go up 2-0 on the Ducks, and then they have another 3-game losing streak, and they win the last 2 to advance out of the second round. So through the first 2 rounds, they've already had 2 3-game losing streaks and still have advanced. So I don't know if any other team in sports history has done that, to have 2 3-game losing streaks in the same playoffs. And that's not even before they're in the third round. And then in the third round, they go up 3-1. They lose the last 2 games. So they were on the brink of having 3 3-game losing streaks in the same playoffs. And then they win tonight to make the third Game 7 they've won on the road. And this is all before they've made it to the final round of the playoffs. So if they go on to win the Stanley Cup, I think it's got to be the most, I don't even know the word you use to describe the journey they've gone on through this playoffs. And even if they don't win, I still think this goes down as this might be the most incredible journey I've ever seen for any sports team in any league.
I think the only thing close, there's a couple things that stick in my mind. One would be the Boston Red Sox when they won that first World Series after the curse. When they were down 3-0 to the Yankees, and they figured out a way to win that series, and then they didn't lose another game. But again, the whole elimination thing's crazy. And then another one, as far as improbability, I would say Fresno State winning the College World Series is up there as well, because that was nuts.
I like you're pulling it out of left field. I like how you're going, for one of the non-major 4 sports,
a non-revenue generating sport. How about that? Giving those guys a shout out to all the tennis,
we're talking about
volleyball, water polo.
And you talk about baseball a little bit. I've seen a striking similarity in this Blackhawks-Kings rivalry between the Giants and Cardinals in baseball, because if you look at it, the Kings and Blackhawks have won the last 3 Stanley Cups, and now they'll have won the last 4 Stanley Cups if the Kings go on to win. And they're both so incredibly mentally tough. The Kings haven't been the best team in the regular season, but they somehow always find a way to pull it out in the postseason. And I see these striking similarities between the Giants and the Cardinals in baseball. And it's remarkable because you see a team like the Sharks, you see other teams that just have the talent, have the skill in the regular season, and they can't get it done in the playoffs. And there's just something that the Kings and Blackhawks both have that always pushes them over the edge in the postseason.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things, once you know how to win. I mean, you look at basketball. I mean, who's playing in the NBA Finals? We'll talk about it, I guess, next, right? But, yeah, I mean, you got the Heat and the Spurs. How often do you see the Heat and the Spurs late in the postseason the past 4 years? I mean, the Heat have been there 4 years in a row. So, Yeah, I mean, once you get over that hump of doing it the first time, it becomes a lot easier, I think.
And I think that's a perfect transition into the NBA playoffs, the Heat Spurs, because you're completely right. We saw it with LeBron. When you fail in the playoffs, it starts to become a mental hurdle you have to get over. There's the press on you. You have your own monkeys. You have to get off your back. And if you can do that within a certain amount of time, which LeBron was kind of on the cusp of, if he didn't get it done a couple of years ago, he might have started getting into that territory where you never get it done. Not to say he doesn't have the talent, but the monkey becomes so great on your back that if you don't get it off by a certain time, I mean, that's what kind of happens with the Sharks, the Suns in the NBA. You see it with the Buffalo Bills. It starts getting your head to a point where you literally can't get over that hurdle.
I completely agree. I mean, the hurdle becomes more difficult in the game. Just thinking about it. All the media hype, and you have to answer that question every single day. That really wears on you. I totally agree.
And I think that's one of the things as we get into our NBA playoffs discussion, our second topic, is the question is, have the Thunder and the Pacers hit their ceiling? Because they're both dealing with that mental hurdle we talk about. The Thunder have had some terrible luck the last couple of seasons with Serge Ibaka going down for the first couple of games. You had Russell Westbrook last year being lost for the playoffs of the second round. So you can't completely discredit their efforts, but still they're at that point where they're starting to get the questions are raising. Can that team win? And then on the Eastern Conference side, I don't think this Pacers team can win the way they're designed. There's other teams like the Wizards, like the Bulls that'll be back stronger next season. I don't think the Pacers team, the way they're currently constructed, can win an NBA championship.
I think that Okay, I think the Thunder cannot win with that team. I said it multiple times. You can't have Russell Westbrook on the team with MVP. You just can't. Because so do what he did yesterday. We went 1 for 7 in overtime. And what does that get you? But as far as the Pacers are concerned, I mean, sorry, you're in the Eastern Conference. You're not going to beat LeBron James. I apologize. But there's really nothing you can do when the best player in the world, by not even close, is in the same conference as you. So I think that is their biggest problem.
With the Pacers, I just don't think that collective unit can do it. I think they need more maturity. I think they need a few more veteran pieces. And I don't think Lance Stevens, as talented as Lance Stevenson is, and I actually don't mind his antics. I find them wildly entertaining considering how boring sports is becoming with this PC world we live in. So I don't mind his antics, but I think you see him frustrating his teammates almost more than he frustrates opponents, and I think that's the bigger issue. Roy Hibbert doesn't seem like he's that mentally tough either. So I think it kind of comes from the top down. I don't know. I just saw that Frank Vogel's his job is safe, apparently, but I don't think Frank Vogel's necessarily the guy that's going to progress them any farther. As far as the Thunder go, I agree with you on the Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant thing, but I don't think that they necessarily have to get rid of Westbrook to win a championship. I think in the next couple of years, the Spurs will finally tail off, and you're going to see between the Clippers, Warriors, either Blazers or Rockets and Thunder, it's going to be those 3-4 teams competing. I still think the Thunder could get there. They've just had some really bad luck the last couple of years, and sometimes we see with the Suns that ends up being the end-all be-all, and you never get there. But I think the Thunder can still win as they're currently constructed. I mean, they've done amazing in the draft. They got Steven Adams with that late pick from the Rockets. And even though it was a late pick, Steven Adams looked like he's going to be a force with Serge Ibaka. So I still have faith in the Thunder that they can figure it out. I do not have faith in the Pacers.
Let me ask you this question. If you had to fire one of them today, who would you fire, Brooks or Vogel?
I'd fire Vogel in a second.
Interesting.
I'm not saying that I think Brooks can be the man long term in Oklahoma City if he doesn't get it done in the next year or two, but the way I see Vogel talk when he's mic'd up and just the way his team demeanor is, I just don't think he's the guy to push them to the next level. I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but I just think with the maturity level of those players on his team, they need more of a father figure like a Popovich or a Phil Jackson to get them to that next level. Whereas the Thunder,
so they need the two best coaches of NBA history to get.
But I'm not saying it has to be someone like that. But even a George Karl, I'm saying someone who's a little more stern, a little older, who has a little more clout, who can kind of put them in their place.
There's a guy like that in Dallas, coaching college right now. You think no, that'll never happen. Never mind. Not going to use the word Larry Brown. Not going to happen. We'll move on from there because that's a whole thing. That's not. We'll talk about the NBA team in Los Angeles. I'll do that. I want to talk about that. I can talk about that.
Yeah, a record sale.
$2
billion.
Hallelujah.
Initial thoughts. Record sale. Steve Ballmer paid over $400,000 more than the next bidder for the team. Do you see them staying in Los Angeles long term?
Yes, I do. Because Well, actually, you know what? It's kind of a tricky thing because he overpaid quite frankly, because he can. And he just really wanted a basketball team. He missed out on the Kings, and I think he said to himself, there's no effing way that I'm not going to get this team. This is my team. I'm buying it. But in order for it to make sense business-wise, he can't move it to Seattle. The TV contract runs up in 2016, so for a few years it's going to be a little rough. But again, he can afford it. And when that media deal comes up, if he's able to keep the pieces there that are there, I could see the Clippers surpassing the Lakers in popularity. I'm not even joking. By the time 2016 comes along, and then their media deal will be disgusting, provided that this media deal bubble doesn't pop by then, which it might. So I can't see a reason why he'd move to Seattle. I can't.
All right, here's my reason why I think, against all the reasons that make sense for him to keep the team in LA, I think he could move the team to Seattle. We saw when Clay Bennett bought the Sonics and eventually would move them to Oklahoma City. He promised David Stern, he promised the owners, he promised the media that he wasn't moving the team, that he loved them in Seattle, etc., blah, yada, yada. All along, his plans were to move to Oklahoma City. So just because Steve Ballmer says, oh, he loves LA, this and that, that doesn't mean anything to me. Now, as far as a reason why he'd keep them in LA, he bought the team for $2 billion because it's in LA, not because it's in Seattle. But when you're worth $20 billion and you have a dream, which he had already initially promised the city of Seattle, which where he's from, that he would bring an NBA team back there. I don't think you care if you're losing value on your franchise if you're fulfilling a lifelong dream. And he's worth $20 billion, so why does it matter if you lose $600 million on a team? If you have more money than almost anyone else in the world, and you have a dream, it doesn't necessarily matter about a TV rights deal or becoming LA's team. If you really care about a city and you've had this passion for bringing the basketball, you will do whatever it takes. And I mean, you imagine putting a Clipper team as exciting as they are in Seattle. You're talking about a rivalry with the Warriors. They already have like a Niners-Seahawks rivalry, and that could be just as energizing for the NBA as anything else. I mean, the Clippers are always going to be second fiddle in LA. I never realized it until I started living here, and people don't like the Clippers here. They get booed at the Dodgers games. They're not respected. Just because they have a new owner doesn't mean everyone's going to switch for the Lakers. They might be exciting. They might be run better, but it doesn't mean they're going to take over LA. That just won't happen in this city.
Well, you live in LA, right? Did you notice that there was an earthquake during the hockey game?
Yeah, it shook a little bit, but my reaction...
That was not an earthquake. You know what that was? That was all the fans jumping back on the bandwagon after they scored that fourth goal to tie it up. That is what LA fans are all about. They're about bandwagons. They don't care about the game. They care about being seen.
I know you probably planned that before the show, but that was probably one of the best transitions you've ever had.
Thank you.
I want to take a moment to just give you credit right there.
All right, I'll give it 2 seconds. 1, 2, okay, and then I'll go back to the point. Point being, these fans don't care. They look at Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is the biggest USC fan of all time. Now is a UCLA fan. They don't care. They just want to root for the team that's winning. They want to show up to the game. They want to have nice seats and drink their little drinks and do whatever. They have no idea what's going on in the court.
I agree with you. My roommates are Kings fans. They left for the second period to go get a salad.
Yeah.
Loyalty.
Well, I mean, when a guy wants a salad, you got to get. I mean, come on. I mean, that's a legitimate thing to do. But I don't know. I could easily see fans jumping ship.
I just don't see it. I get what you're saying about the bandwagon, and I'm sure, if the Lakers if the only reason that I could buy what you're saying is if the Lakers remain terrible for the next 3 or 4 years, that's going to leave a big window. Yeah, and I think they will. So that could be the perfect storm where it leaves that window open. But there's such loyalty to the Laker organization, and so many people in LA have grown up as avid Laker fans that goes through family with rich history that I just don't see that happening. There's going to be people who wear Clippers gear who will support the Clippers, but I don't see them switching allegiances. I don't ever see the Clippers being the number one team in LA.
Hey, Trevor, what kind of computer did you have 15 years ago?
I've always had an Apple, Tommy.
What?
I've always had an Apple computer, Tommy.
Oh, come on.
I've been
just
Apple
like you've always. Oh, come on.
I get what you're trying to say with the analogy. Unfortunately, you just picked someone who's had Apple products since. I had the first generation The thing is, it would have been a really good analogy. You just picked the wrong person. But I get what you're saying. In this case, we just see it differently. I do not see people switching allegiances. Well, it'll be very interesting to see, considering the Lakers have completely blown their salary cap situation. But you give $24 million a year to a washed-up Kobe Bryant. You got $10 million owed to Steve Nash. You have no plan at all. I don't know what kind of free agent wants to come to the Lakers right now. Kevin Love is not coming. Sorry, I'm getting all fired up because I just.
You are. You're getting a little. I can feel the heat. I can feel it.
And then as you win your last 2 games of the season or whatever it was, so you get the 7th pick in the draft. So now a trade for Kevin Love has that less of a chance for happening. The only reason I could see a potential for what you're saying is because I can't see the Lakers being a good team within the next 5 years. And I know they say, we always acquire free agents, we always figure it out, but I just don't see it. I don't see the salary cap room. No one wants to play with Kobe. You don't know who your coach is. I don't see it.
What social media profile did you have freshman year of high school?
Okay, now you want to go down this route.
Yeah, well, now I got to get one, otherwise I'm going to look like an idiot. So just say MySpace so I can have my win.
Yeah,
and then...
I did have MySpace.
Okay, that's all I wanted. That's it. That's all I wanted. I can be happy now.
I see your point. We just disagree here. But you know what? I appreciate the analogies. I appreciate the way you're trying to direct me, but I don't see it.
Okay, since we're getting a little fired up, a little antsy, I think we should jump into the interrogation room.
Yeah, this is a perfect time to get the interrogation going.
All right, and so the way this works, for those of you listening, one of us is the interrogator, the other is the sports personality, and Trevor, you're going to put on your German accent real quick if you got one, because you're Jurgen Klinsmann. And I just got to ask you, man, what are you doing leaving Landon Donovan off the roster?
As you know,
good effort.
The thing is, he doesn't have a straight German accent. He
no,
has
it's a muddled one. Yeah, it's tough.
That's why, see, like, if you go with a straight German accent, it's easy. You go with, like, a beer fest thing. But his is kind of muddled because it's in between this. He's lived in L.A. for a few years, and now he kind of talks like you can't really understand it, but he kind of like, oh, good job, and then he kind of talks American. So I can't perfectly do the. If you have a better accent, I'd love to hear your.
I don't have a better one. I don't have one. I don't have one at all. I have zero accent.
But that's really my only defense for botching it, is that it's kind of a muddled.
It's a tough one. It is a tough. Yeah. I shouldn't have thrown you under the bus like that.
I would have
actually. That's a game I want to start. I want to do that next time. I want to do a game called Bus Throwers, where we throw people under the bus. But we'll stick to this, Jurgen. Why did you leave Landon off the team?
Landon really he kind of just slapped me in the face the way he disrespected the team by going on a hiatus, going to find himself over the last couple of years. And although he's historically been one of the most successful players in World Cup history, he really rubbed me the wrong way when he did that. And when I was Bayern Munich coach, I always kind of felt like he was part of the reason that I got fired with his poor performances when he played under me. So this is more of a personal issue that I just haven't admitted yet. Do I think it'll probably come back to haunt me when we're struggling in the first couple games of the World Cup and we need a goal scorer, we need someone with experience? Yeah, it'll probably come back to bite me, but this is a personal vendetta I have against him.
All right, let me dig in a little bit deeper. Did you do this on purpose to give the younger guys an opportunity because you're not getting out of this group stage of death? Is that what you're doing?
No, I think that we will advance. I think that we're gonna lose to Ghana, and everyone's gonna give up on us because I'm pretty sure that's the first game.
It is.
Or is Germany? Yeah, that is first game. And then I think we're gonna stun by defeating Portugal. And then I think we're going to tie Germany and advance as the second team into the elimination round. I wish I had a good accent that I could use right now. It's just I wasn't prepping, and I really want to speak with the whole the Bundesliga, that kind of thing, but I don't have it all right now.
That's all right. What else have to ask? I think that's pretty much all I got for you.
Nothing more. I answered that quickly. I fielded off the questions you had.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you guys aren't looking very good right now. I mean, you could explain.
I know we look terrible, but it's what's your little what'd you bring up a couple episodes ago about how you the term pool shark? That's what we're doing.
We're pool sharking now. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, we're pool sharking. Yeah,
nice.
So I knew it would come back. I knew once you taught me what it was, eventually I would bring it back into the show.
I'm glad you did that.
Next topic. You are Commissioner Adam Silver.
Nice.
This is the question. So reports came out. Now, I hate doing this because we don't know this is true. I'll make that very clear. This is just a rumor. But the report is that when Mark Jackson was asked about Jason Collins, when he was still coaching the Warriors, that he said, not in my locker room. If this is true, why shouldn't Mark Jackson be banned from the NBA for life? If Donald Sterling was banned for saying that he didn't want blacks in his arena, why should Mark Jackson not be banned for saying that he doesn't want gays on his team?
Well, I'll answer that question quite simply. There's no recording and no proof really that went on, so I don't have to deal with that. And
But what if there's concrete
I'm
proof?
dealing
What
with
if-
a
what if-
lot of crap right now, Trevor. I don't know if you know about this, but the Clippers are trying to be sold, and the old owner is trying to sue the NBA for $1 billion.
I'm just saying. I think you're
with-
sidestepping. I think you're sidestepping an issue right now. I mean, it's a slippery slope. If he said that he doesn't want gays on his team, Donald Sterling saying he doesn't want blacks in the league, what's the difference? Then you start showing that you value blacks over gays.
No, the difference is one is a off the record remark that is, as far as I know, one sentence long, as opposed to a rant / manifesto, almost like just going off against a whole race of people. I think there's a difference there in maybe one comment as opposed to 7 minutes or whatever it was of racial in something.
All right, I'll give you the credit. You've deflected this question very well, but let me present this potential situation to come in. What if Mark Jackson were to come out and admit that he still believes that he would want an all-straight locker room?
I would tell him, Mark, that was pretty dumb, and maybe my punishment would be is you can't take a coaching job for 2 years.
Okay.
He's not an employee of mine. I know he's announcing games in my arenas, but he's not my employee, so it's not my problem. If ESPN wants to take up something,
but if he wants to coach it, immediately is your problem.
But I would not let him coach for 2 years or something like that.
That's all I wanted. That's all. Hey,
I would
Adam,
wait and see what ESPN does.
That's all I wanted was a clear answer. That's all I wanted.
All right, I get to be interrogating Chris Grand now, Cleveland Cavaliers general manager. You somehow got the first pick overall. Some people think that frozen envelope situation or whatever gave it to you. But what are you going to do with it now that you got it?
I'm making a pick. I'm not going to trade it. There's been rumors trade the number 1 for Kevin Love, try to sign LeBron. I don't think LeBron's coming back to the Cavaliers after that whole epidemic with the not the decision, but the Daniel Snyder, or not Daniel Snyder. Well, thinking about bad owners right now.
Like Comic Sans MS letter.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know. I started thinking about bad owners. I immediately go to Daniel Snyder, but I don't think LeBron's coming back, especially on the verge of a three-peat. And if he does, it's not going to be next year. So I'm not just going to trade for 1 year Kevin Love. I'm not banking on that. I'm taking Andrew Wiggins. I'm building the team, hoping that Kyrie's going to stay with an Andrew Wiggins, and hopefully some of my other draft picks can get along. Despite my, although it wasn't me, the terrible history of picks over the last few years. I mean, if you look at the players that we could have had if I was in this position a couple of years ago, we would have Kawhi Leonard. We would have either Kawhi Leonard or Klay Thompson because I'm all-knowing. And with that, we'd also have Oladipo, and we'd have a center, Andre Drummond. So we'd essentially have the best team in the league. But that's why I was hired now, because they didn't. I'm all-knowing. And from here on out, we will make the right decisions, and that's why we're going to draft Andrew Wiggins. We're going to stay young. We're going to keep Kyrie, and next year we might even make the playoffs.
All right, let me ask you this, buddy. Have you tossed around if you're the Heat, how confident are you that LeBron is going to stay after this year? Probably not very confident, right?
Well, the thing is, I'm not the Heat.
Wait. Let me finish. So if you're the Heat, you might be thinking, okay, we got 1 more year of LeBron, and then he's piecing out of here. We might as well take that number 1 pick from Cleveland off their hands right now. Go ahead and give them LeBron. Maybe take 2 first-round picks from him. That's not cross your mind to maybe pick up the phone and call their buddy old Pat Riley?
I don't think Pat Riley's doing that, and I think that LeBron's giving it 1 more year at the Heat. If he's going to opt out, it will be after that, and if it comes down to that and we want to try to get Kevin Love and LeBron on the same team, we'll do it then. We can always trade Andrew Wiggins or any of our other assets, but I'm not taking a risk of Kevin Love potentially leaving after a year like a Dwight Howard, and I'm going with an Andrew Wiggins. And although that's not guaranteed, I'm all-knowing Andrew Wiggins will thrive with Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
Does that do it for you?
Yeah, it does for me.
All right, our last interrogation topic. You are Commissioner Mike Silv of the SEC, who has brought up in the last couple of days of potentially creating a Division 4 where the SEC, along with the other power conferences, would secede if the NCAA doesn't start making the correct provisions to allow the power conferences different rules for athletes. How the hell are you going to do this?
Well, we're going to do this because we win the national championship every year, except for last year. But we're always in the national championship. We have the best teams. I mean, if you took our 4 best teams and put up against anyone else in the country, they might win every single game. So we got all the players. We got the teams. Our stadiums are packed every single year. And every game, if we secede, we will probably start paying our players because we can do whatever we want because we're our own deal. And because we're doing that, we're going to get even more good players. So we'll just be basically Division I. I'm sorry, that sounds like a pretty sweet deal to me. I would love to explore this idea, and if the commissioner doesn't want us to, then he can appease us with whatever we want. Give us some kind of a special treatment with contracts.
Hey,
but
Mike, let's hold up a second. Do you really think you can convince all the other conferences to go along with you? You know, they have this great thing in torture called the prisoner's dilemma. And, you know, people say they're going to do one thing until they get separated in different rooms. And suddenly they're not so loyal, you know? They start thinking about potential outcomes, they start worrying, and they cave. And that's my question to you. Do you really think you could bring the other power conferences along with you? I know you think you're all grand with the SEC, but if you can't bring the other conferences along, you got a hole in your plan.
I think I convinced one or two. Because there's the frightening issue of, well, if they're their own deal and they're above us, we're not going to get any recruits. Because why would you go play in Division I when Division IV has all these nice shiny things? So I would be a little bit more optimistic than that. That someone would.
You don't sound nearly as confident as you were 15 seconds ago.
What?
You don't sound nearly as confident.
Oh
as
no,
you were
I
15 seconds ago.
I am. I'm just texting with oh geez, how am I blanking this name so hard?
I don't understand this. I asked you to give me 30 minutes a week to do a podcast, and you got a text during the podcast.
No, I was still in character. I was trying to say that I was texting with Big Ten Commissioner, but I just completely blanked on his name.
I can hear your phone vibrating in the background.
I'm really committed to this role. Jim Delaney, thank you. Jim Delaney and I are texting, and we're contriving our whole master plan.
All right, I'm moving. I've had enough. We're moving on. This is attention. You know, we have.
I can't help it if my phone rings. I can't. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about it.
Just take it off the desk. You know,
it is off. I'm holding it in my hand. I'm holding it in my hand.
We have high quality mics over here. You know, it's all gonna be picked up. I'm gonna have to edit it out.
What do you want me to do? Take my phone and throw it out the room? It'll probably break my phone.
Okay, we got a few minutes left. We're running long today as per usual. Let's go to who's hot, who's not. Tommy, who do you got for who's not?
My hot is Roraline, which is no longer a thing. But Rory McIlroy and Caroline Wozniacki broken up, and now both of them are hot. Trevor. Rory's career is back on track, and Caroline has been pictured at all these sweet nightclubs in Miami. She was on the court with LeBron and Serena. Serena actually took a picture with a wedding party in her bathing suits. That was nice of her. But and Caroline is just hot in general. Great follow on Instagram. So that is my hot for this week. What about you?
There we go with the creeper moment of the week where Tommy talks about some girl in sports that he follows on Instagram.
Well, you know, I could have gone with Mallory Edens for accepting my follow request, which was a big deal.
We had Mallory Edens, then we had Blake Bortles' girlfriend. We really know where to go when we want to know about some girl who's between the ages of 14 and 17 who we should follow on.
18 and whatever age I happen to be at that period of time.
Nice cover, Tommy. Nice cover. My who's hot's got to go to Tim Hudson. It's a homer pick, but he's got.
Listen, Tommy brings up a girl, but Trevor can bring up area sports.
Listen, he's got 1.75 ERA. He's 6-2. Shattered an ankle last year. Potentially could be comeback player of the year. Giants' best team in baseball. You know I'm going to go with the homer coming once in a while. I gave the LA King shout out. You know it's not all about the homers anymore. But Tim Hudson, he's hot right now. Shutout today. And there's Tommy with another
I can't help it. I'm sorry. I really can't help it if I'm extremely popular. There's literally nothing I can do. There's nothing. There's nothing I can do. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm holding the phone in my hand.
We're going.
Like a baby.
We're going to who's not.
I'm caressing the phone like a baby.
We'll speed up these last few minutes so we can get you out of here. I know you have other conversations you need to interact with.
But look at all these people I'm ignoring to talk to you. I'd rather talk to you.
Who's not for you? Let's get the who's not.
Who's not hot is Scripps National Spelling Bee is not hot. Cold. Because there was a tie. And ties are not American. And this thing was held in the Capitol. I'm sure close to the Capitol building, but I'm not exactly sure where. But it's a whole national thing. And you had the kids tie. What kind of message are you sending to your youth?
That's just how it ends. That's just literally how they end it.
They ran out of words? Are you kidding me? There's a gigantic dictionary sitting right next to you, man. Why don't you pull that thing open and start chucking words out? You can't run out of words. Where are we? Awful.
They should start having kids spell words backwards.
Or have the kids challenge each other with words. Whole new thing. I tweeted this out too.
Call it the shootout.
The shootout, and then I tweeted this out. Did not get any positive responses on the Twittergram or Twitter sphere, but I wanted to see maybe you throw some UFC in there. They had a boxing, chess. Why not spelling bee UFC? Hello.
First, we're talking about the girls you follow on Instagram. Now you want to see underage kids beat the shit out of each other. What the hell is going on, Ty?
Spelling bee is a grown man event. You got to be a man to be in a spelling bee, Trevor. You can't just be these aren't little kids. These are adult brains.
All right, what are you talking about? That spelling bee movie with what the hell is the guy's name?
Bad Words. I did see it with Jason Bateman. I saw it. Not that great.
I knew you were coming up with these.
Very underwhelming movie. I was very excited for it. Love Arrested Development. Love Mr. Bateman. Hated
I actually
the movie.
started watching that movie and turned it off after about 20 minutes. It was god awful.
Oh, it was terrible. It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. So who's not hot for you?
So for me, who's not is Josh Gordon, because he already is dealing with a year-long suspension for substance abuse that came out during the draft, and he just got pulled over for a speeding ticket. His friend had marijuana in the car. Josh Gordon, you have the potential to be one of the best, if not the best receiver in the NFL. You're potentially facing a year-long suspension. Cleveland Browns are the Cleveland Browns for a reason. You got to have a better head on your shoulder. So that's why who's not for me is Josh Gordon.
Agreed. I mean, you're not going to impress Mallory Edens by getting pulled over with marijuana in your car. Let me tell you that.
It's like, at least, just go hang out with Johnny Manziel. Go spray some champagne on girls. That's legal. That's all good fun. That doesn't involve, it's funny that that's okay, but smoking weed's not. I find that quite ironic.
Ironic. That's the word you're going to use?
No. This is where, like, if our chemistry was improving on air, this is where you would help me with a word. This is why we do the show together. Instead of you chastising me, you're supposed to give me a word that is, because obviously ironic is not the right word there, but that's where you come in and say, Trevor, I think you meant to say
unjust.
Actually, that was pretty good. Especially try to throw you under the bus. So that
honestly,
I can't wait.
Can we play the game next week, bus throwers, and just throw people under the bus for stuff? I feel like that's
or throw each other under the bus. Whatever works.
It's whoever needs to be thrown under a bus in that particular point in time. I mean, we could have done this week. Could have thrown, Vogel under the bus, or there's a lot of people like to throw buses around, and I think we should make a game out of that.
That's definitely coming up next week. Oh my god! You know what I just forgot, and I don't even know if we could come up with this on the spot. Disappointed we didn't come up with an emoji for the week.
How about a bus?
Yeah, I guess that works perfectly. That we'll bring the bus.
Or we could go with a bikini for emoji of the week for Caroline Wozniacki.
All right, moving on to social media moment of the week. Chicago Blackhawks Twitter account, they were trying to tweet hashtag Chicago or Chai versus LA Kings, and instead it auto-corrected to Chingue a su madre EPN, which stands for basically fuck your mother, excuse the language, but that's what it means. It's a Mexican hashtag basically telling the president motherfucker because they're unhappy with Enrique Peña Nieto, currently the president of Mexico. So quite the blunder, understandable mistake, but if that's your job, not sure that flies.
That's fireable. I would say that's probably fireable. Also, hilarious to me is Is that a Twitter thing or is that a texting thing? I'm yawning right now, and I apologize.
It's a Twitter thing.
No. But what I'm saying is, so do you think whoever the Twitter guy for the Blackhawks was, do you think he was texting that out or tweeted it out from his personal account, and then when he jumped on, so the phone was used to him typing that? You see what I mean?
No. Oh, you're saying like has he been saying Chingue su madre in his personal messages?
Right, and so then
that's why.
And then when he
No,
was
Tommy,
trying to tweet his phone.
I don't think that's. I mean, that's. I love how you're trying to think of the different angles that are potentially possible here, but I think it's probably just where Twitter already has trending topics, so they start kind of auto filling in. Is probably what happened here, but. I like where your head's at, trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. Well, not really the benefit of the doubt. Actually, that could be way more fucked up if that's the case.
You really like saying the F word, I just realized. Anyway, we'll move on to our predictions.
Well, the thing is, we really don't swear much on the show.
But once you hit the count of the bag, I mean, you might as well now. You got that. You know, you were able to do it because of translation. Now the foot's in the door. You might as well bust it open.
Well, that's what happened. Was the only reason I'm saying is just because I got stuck saying it because that's literally what the tweet spells out in English, and I just kind of my brain got stuck on it because I'm normally we try to stay more although we call ourselves Unsportsmanlike Conduct, try to stay a little more professional, keep the swearing to a minimum for our PG crowd out there.
Right, and like I was saying at the beginning of the show, we've gotten a little soft, so it's time for us to harden up, and that's just what this is. You're just
but see, I probably wouldn't have used that.
There.
I probably wouldn't have used. I was trying to tell you to stop using that phrase, and then you took it a step further.
I don't know what you're talking about. Soft means that you're, like weak.
Yeah, just stop. We got to cut you off. It's like we can't. You already have 2 strikes. You're fouling. You're barely fouling balls off. You're very close to getting the axe.
Prediction time. Fine. You don't like my analogy? Fine.
Yeah, we got predictions, and let's get out of here before anything else happens on this. We're melting down. It's been a long weekend. We got the last few minutes to the show having an serious meltdown right now. Predictions. I'm going Kings. Going Kings in 5. I just think that the Kings have gone through the ringer. Kind of like I'm gonna go Homer again with the way the Giants did in 2012. That they swept the Tigers.
Giants.
I think the Kings are the
my
analogy is Giants to the Kings. Not always the best team of the regular season. Find a way to pull it off in the playoffs. You can't argue against that.
Go Sharks!
Do you see the analogy though? Do you see the Giants Kings analogy? They're about to win 2 championships, take a year off in between. Teams that really weren't the best team of the regular season, they figure it out. They always find a way to win. That's why, as much as it's a homer statement, you got to see the parallels.
Could have been a Cardinals analogy.
Yeah, but they're the Blackhawks. They're a Midwest team who wins on the opposite year. That's why. But that's why I'm saying Kings at 5, and I'm going to go Spurs in 7.
Oh, man. Okay, so the hockey one's difficult for me because I don't follow hockey. I mean, this is really hard for me to make this pick. I'm going to go with the Rangers. Wait, who gets the first home game? Rangers do, right?
Yeah. Rangers in 7.
Cinderella's shoes come off or whatever. I don't.
Wait. I need to correct my pick. I need to correct this. If it's, let me make sure. If it's Rangers, if the Rangers are starting the series, then I'm gonna say Kings in 6.
So they'll be home. I get you.
Yeah, I'm saying at home. They're gonna pull it off at home.
Okay. I will say that.
No. It's Rangers at Kings. Yeah. So in 5.
Rangers at Kings. So the Kings have home ice.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it says the Kings are a higher seed, but they must have a better record.
Interesting. Okay. Whatever the last home game is for the Rangers, that's when they'll win it.
So 6. So you're saying 6. Rangers in 6, and I'm saying Kings in 5, and then
in 5. NBA. Insane. NBA. LeBron James in.
And how many?
Same answer. Their last home game. I think the series starts in Miami, right? No. It must start in San Antonio.
Yeah, because Miami's TC. Yeah.
LeBron and the Heatles in 6, and then he will exit stage left, and he will reappear.
No way. He's not going to Cleveland. He
will reappear as a Cleveland Cavalier.
Why do you keep talking like that?
I don't know. I just started doing it earlier, and then it just felt right. Now I just keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it until you make me stop.
But it doesn't even have, there's no, you're not just doing it for the heat. You've just been doing it for random stuff.
I know. It's like an out of body experience. It's fun. It's fun to do. It's fun to make that noise.
I think if we were like doing a self-evaluation of what we've done right and wrong on this show, I'd say we both need to
Well, you know what we'll do? No, we'll do it just like last week. We will ask the Twitter people and the Facebook people and all of our friends if I should continue to make that voice when I feel like it. And if they say yes.
I'm saying, like, obviously there's an issue with our ability to do impressions on the show. I actually have some people who said they would help us with voiceovers, so we could do some cool, voiceovers for segments. But I think that's definitely been an issue today, is our lack of ability to improv other people's voices on the show, or even give any other voice that would bring anything beneficial to the show.
I mean, I'm always trying to, mix it up, and I was just trying to mix it up. Sorry, I didn't realize. I'm like the guy, you know what it's like? It's like the guy who insists on making the guacamole at the party, and he just puts way too much salt. Just way too much salt. And it's like, dude, it's not that hard, bro. Just don't, just, gosh.
Yeah, like, I get what you're saying. There's two. We gotta get out of here. I gotta stop this.
We're just throwing salt in this gualguacamole. It's just completely unnecessary. We just gotta.
And there's more salt's getting dumped in. If we would just
get the chips.
it's like.
I'm just gonna eat sauce. I can't even eat this guacamole. It's disgusting.
I think we're out. I think this is gonna do it. We're 11 minutes over time. A lot of rambling about nothing. So.
Well, I mean, stuff is important to me. So whatever. I mean, whatever. Get us out.
We'll be back next. We'll be back next week to check in on both the NHL finals and the NBA finals. See how our predictions are doing, as well as probably a lot of other hot topics going on. So same time, same place next week. Trevor Brew,
Tommy Morris.
Peace.
Bring the chips.